YouTube, this is Children of the Story, and we're on part 3 of the Sarah's Spaceman Heroes of Cosplay Deep Dive video. Grab snackies, grab babies, let me know what you eat or drink down below. Let's get to watching.
Cast members, though they legitimately only appear in this one episode. With the first being one of the few people I'd heard of before seeing the show for the first time. I watched the show in like 2014 for the first time. And that person is Meg Turney.
I didn't even know Meg Turney was in this! Yo.
Knew who she was from SourceFed, but she started cosplaying at 14 with the help of her grandma, and there's a totally not production force segment where Chloe decides to do a group cosplay with Meg and this other lady, Michelle, who apparently doesn't even know how to sew. But they'll be doing a DC villain ladies group, and they're doing a fan art that nobody gives credit to the artist for. Great job, production. We do get to watch Meg make a felt poodle skirt, and there is an egregious shot of her holding her tape measure with her foot. But Chloe wants animatronic flowers for her poison ivy, so she goes to talk to her dad, the inventor of the lightsaber, and this is where the show gains a lot of points back, because this segment includes the legendary and late Grant Imahara. This part made me too sad to actually watch it, but I gotta give you points for him even being in the show. Chloe does end up with the animatronic flowers, and the moving is cool, but they end up breaking. Chloe has to call Grant Imahara to fix them, and he offers to fix them the next morning. In Riddle's segment, we are introduced to another new cast member, Katie Cosplays, who I've met a couple times.
I also know Katie Cosplays. Kind of, a little bit. Mostly, I am a friend of Katie Cosplays, but I have had her at my show before.
And who I know will watch this. Hi, Katie. I'm sorry. Katie is a former World Cosplay Summit Team USA, which is a big-ass deal in the cosplay community and means that she's not just a veteran cosplayer, but a veteran competitor. Katie's doing Wonder Woman, and Riddle will be finishing the Ash cosplays. So the bow from a couple episodes ago finally gets demolded, and it looks fantastic. They don't really talk about how any of that is done, but they focus a whole lot on the lights she's putting into it, of course. Katie is making her shield out of craft foam and warbler, but they spend way more time talking about the lights that she's putting in her lasso because the show seems to think that lights are the most impressive thing you can do for a cosplay. Yep. At the con, there's drama about Chloe not flying out at the same time as the other DC girls because she's getting her flowers fixed, but she does make it and airbrushes herself in the hotel room and fills the hotel room up with airbrush vapor. And one of the flowers breaks again, so she runs to ask Riki for glue that will work, and I don't know what she's using, but it's probably not safe to use in a hotel room. But she fixes it, so it's time for the green screen reveal shot, and I hope that they had a blue screen for Chloe, but I don't know if they did because her skin looks really weird.
Her skin looks very teal. Cobblestone, thank you for the follow.
They do look really cute, though. Riki gets in her Ash, and it looks amazing because, you know, she took more than a week to make it. And Katie's Wonder Woman looks great. The judges for the contest are Ivy Doom Kitty again, Jason David Frank again, and Yaya, who tells us that Wizard World has no separate divisions, which again, the show has never explained the skill divisions. It also has no prejudging, so performance is as important as craftsmanship. And I have to wonder if someone like Riki, who worked that hard on a cosplay like the Ash, would be taking her cosplay to a contest like this if it wasn't for the TV show. Anyway, drama.
Yeah,
Katie's batteries for her lights are dead, but Angel Baby Riki offers to lend Katie her battery pack after she gets off stage. But then Riki's batteries die too, so she gets the organizers to let her go last so she can charge her batteries, which is bad for Katie. But the guy in front of her in line had AA batteries, and he gives them to her. Look at this wonderful camaraderie that the show has done nothing to present and has actively tried to make look cutthroat. So Katie goes up with her lights, and you can't even see them because the stage lights are on, but they do the stupid talking to the contestants thing again. And afterward, Katie runs to give Riki her batteries, but Riki just decides to go last to let her batteries charge. There's a Miku mention.
Hatsune Miku is.
But Miku never gets shown. The DC girlies go up and they let Meg on stage in roller skates, which just seems like a safety issue. But the flowers do work.
Most conventions don't allow you to wear roller skates. Like, at all. Because, like, most venues won't let you, like, go around on roller skates either. So, like, what?
Riki goes up and her ash is amazing, and again, I can't even tell if the lights are on because of the stage lights, but the judges go deliberate. They talk about the DC girls and they say,
I really like the originality of it.
but like, they didn't draw that fan art. Riddle gets a nod for doing advanced techniques, but they seem like actually upset that her batteries died. And like, I wouldn't care if somebody's battery died as long as you can like show me a video that at some point it worked. She still wired the thing herself. Anyway, awards time. Best group goes to Not in the Cast. Best male.
I also, so sorry. I also wonder if like they weren't AA batteries, if she had, because like she was quote unquote trying to recharge her batteries. I wonder if they were like those big batteries that you can get to go into flashlights, not the square ones, the ones you never see in a store ever. They're like cylinders, but they're like big round cylinders, you know? So I wonder if like it wasn't just normal AA batteries that went in her battery pack. Not D batteries. They're like long and like kind of big. I don't mean like, when I say you never see them in the store, they're a type of rechargeable battery. I have them in flashlights. And also I bought a hand fan that was like a little electronic like fan that you could pop the batteries in and out of. But they're like a specific type of battery and I have never seen them in a store. So like, I wonder if that's what she was using. Hello, Dark Ace. How's it going?
Herself. Anyway, awards time. Best group goes to Not in the Cast. Best male villain. Again, what the fuck? Not in the Cast. Best female hero is Katie. Best in Show goes to Not in the Cast. But then they do honorable mentions, which would literally never be presented after Best in Show. But
I really feel like honorable mentions are like the first things announced. Just like judges' picks are usually the first to be announced. And then like the announcements ramp up from there. Then you get like best novice, etc., all the way up to best in show.
I wonder why. Well, the first one goes to Not in the Cast, but the second goes to the DC girls, and the last honorable mention goes to Riki. So yeah, that's why they put them after. To make you even more angry about how the cast was treated, my dear friend Pins was able to track down a Tumblr post made by Chloe.
The guide for surviving heroes of cosplay filming.
She apparently wrote this in between the filming of season 1 and 1.5, and it was intended to be a guide for the upcoming new cast members. And it confirms all of my suspicions about production and adds so much more to my rage. Welcome to Heroes of Cosplay. Last season was one of the most challenging experiences of our lives. There was pain, physical exhaustion, many sleepless nights, hospital visits, and puking. All of these can be avoided if you are prepared. For general tips, she says, you are going to be rushed, so get an Amazon Prime account. But then says, we did have a different crew last time, but they got mad at us and told us a little lipstick and blush goes a long way, and basically reprimanded us for our love of sweatpants. Take a risk by all means. A comfy, comfy risk.
Titties make money. That's why this dude had almost nothing but women, and then Jesse, who he ignored entirely. Ick. Giving me the ick.
Ew! At cons, she says you will be getting up at 8 a.m. and being kept out until 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. So get sleep. The story directors are the deciders. They can make you look good or they can make you look bad, so don't piss them off. However, you don't have to say anything you don't want to. Even if the story director gets pissed, stick to your guns and think before you say anything. The one emotion to avoid is anger, and avoid whining at all costs. The last 2 episodes are a 2-parter for Wizard World New Orleans, and they serve as the series finale. It's another Comic-Con and another one with 2 costume contests. Definitely not one costume contest that they cut into 2 episode parts.
They have been at multiple Wizarding Worlds. I mean, again, back in the day, Wizarding World, there was a lot of different Wizarding Worlds. owned, I think, by the same umbrella company, but there was like a bunch of them. So, I mean, I guess if like they're willing to do it in one location, I guess they'd be willing to do it in multiple ones.
Yaya will be judging the individual contest, but hosting the skit/group contest. So she feels like she has to do something big. So she's gonna learn how to walk on stilts for the Banshee Queen from Lineage 2 to host a costume contest. Holly and Jessica are once again working with Chloe. They'll be doing an original design Peter Pan group inspired by Guillermo del Toro that they are calling Peter Pan's Labyrinth, and they'll be doing a skit. There's more cool shots of Holly being the sculpting master that they are, and there's some fun pleat math from Chloe making Wendy. The Wendy cosplay comes out cute though, but she calls it an Edwardian antique nightgown, but like, is that Edwardian? I don't know, y'all tell me. Carl is back for this episode and he's making Haunt, and we get to see him.
Yes, there's no Jesse in this season. Sad. Wait, was he in the first episode of the second season? Either way, we haven't seen Jesse in a while. I'm sad.
Sculpt his Haunt pieces out of silicone. Jesse is back for the finale.
As I say it, Jesse's back, yay!
And he's gonna do Thorin Oakenshield, the one from the Hobbit movies.
All right.
Hold your applause. He's making his metal shirt thing out of metal, but as metal do be, it's really heavy, so he has to do it in resin instead.
Aww.
Miguel is doing the individual contest, and he's doing Shazam from Injustice. But then there's this scene with Yaya, Katie, Indra, and Riki. We find out that Riki and Katie are doing the group contest as a Soul Calibur group, with Katie as Sophitia and Riki as Tira? I don't know shit about Soul Calibur, and I wrote this character's name wrong in my script. Anyway, then Indra and Yaya come in and are like, "Oh, Indra, you should do it too." And Indra is doing Hild, and the production just makes it seem like this wasn't already planned, but I kind of have to assume that it was. But anyway, Indra does join.
Because if not, that's rude as shit. You gotta come in with like your cosplay friend to my little area where we're planning our cosplay things, and you're just gonna be like, "Hey, she's gonna join your group." Like, what do you mean? Excuse me? You just gonna decide that for me? That's rude.
In their group, but then Yaya is like,
You know there's a skit required, right?
and they make it seem like Katie and Riki are being really avoidant of the skit, but like, Katie has done World Cosplay Summit, the biggest skit competition in the world. She knows how to do a skit. Katie's plan is to do a choreographed walk-on instead of a full skit.
All we'll do is we'll do a choreographed walk-on, which is essentially where we just plan out our movements on stage, make them very theatrical.
A choreographed walk-on is a fully realized skit. It's just a simple one. You can tell a full story without any recorded dialogue or big set pieces. And this is a perfectly reasonable, good idea, especially with their time limit, but the show paints this as Katie and Riki not taking it seriously.
I really think that we should have like at least something just in case. I mean, if we're gonna spend so much time on these costumes trying to like get the best that we can. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, so far we haven't really had a lot of drama, so let's shoehorn in some drama. Also, where y'all working that is freezing cold? Like, and I say this because you're all just decked out in your winter coats, and depending on what the fuck you're doing, like Katie was over there like ironing like stuff, so I don't know what she's doing, but paint is gonna have a harder time drying correctly, and possibly glue too. Like, what are you guys doing in here? Just where are you? Okay, thank you for the follow.
Worried that Riki and Katie aren't concerned about the skit. We're really, really short on time, and I'm kind of rolling with the punches.
But the big drama for this group is that Katie is thinking about dropping out because she can't work as fast as the other members of the group. This drama will continue in part 2 of the episode because this one is about the individual contest, which only has the bull.
Also, there was a cage for some type of animal, so why is it so cold? Like, in the background, this is an animal cage for some type of animal. So why is it so cold in this room? I am concerned.
of the episode, because this one is about the individual contest, which only has the boys in it. So there's not a ton of con stuff or drama, so we're going right to the contest. The judges are right.
You know who doesn't make enough drama or show their tits enough? The guys. So we're just gonna gloss over every mention of them.
Fry, Ivy Doom Kitty again, Jason David Frank again, and Yaya. The boys compete against each other, nothing crazy happens, but in the judges' deliberations, Yaya remarks that Jesse's isn't as flashy, but then points out that the flashy costume is just a bunch of purchased pieces. And the winners are the honorable mention from Ivy Doom Kitty is not in the cast, Yaya's goes to Miguel, Ryan's goes to not in the cast, the Green Ranger's goes to the Green Ranger, Best Male Hero goes to Jesse, Best Male Villain goes to the flashy cosplay, and Best in Show is not in the cast. But a good Dalek.
No one will be exterminated tonight!
And that brings us to the
Nice.
final episode and the group costume contest. For this one, we once again
We are happy that Jesse won something. I don't know. I thought his thing looked good. Like,
us to the
so.
final episode is not Jesse. Best Male Villain goes.
I know. They didn't really, like, I don't know. I think these turned out good. He could have probably shaded them a little better. I'm bad at painting stuff, so like I get it, but like could have probably painted it a little bit better. I don't know.
Individual drama, so we're going right to the contest. The
Yeah.
judges are Ryan Fry. I've heard nothing crazy.
Okay. Like, I think this looks pretty good. I don't know who all he was going up against, but like, I don't know, whatever. What do I know? I'm not getting like really close up pictures of anything anyway.
No one will be exterminated tonight!
And that brings us to the final episode and the group costume contest. For this one, we once again have the Atlanta ladies versus the LA folks, with Yaya hosting in the big stilts cosplay, which she finished in the hotel room after an all-nighter. Actually, the entire front half of this episode is all of those people finishing their shit in the hotel rooms.
I only had 2 weeks to work on anything, so that tracks.
Yaya will apparently also be doing some kind of performance before the show, and she does get the cosplay finished, and it looks great, so it's time for one last green screen montage. The Atlanta team drama comes back in the form of Katie being nowhere near finished.
The convention is only hours away, and I still have no dress, no sandals, pretty much no costume.
Like, Indra and Riddle are straight up dressed and Katie is not done, so they both go down without Katie to go sign up. For the LA folks, the subplot is that Holly has chosen to wear sclera lenses, which are those big blackout contact lenses that cover your entire eye. Holly's, though, are very painful.
Why do they have those if they hurt people?
Then
They don't sell the
wear them.
expensive ones anymore to the US. I tried, I couldn't get any, so.
You can find them, maybe not in 2 weeks, but also if they're painful, do not wear them. Like, don't wear them. That's it. Do not wear them.
These aren't, they're just whatever.
But even though the others say that they don't have to wear those, Holly insists on wearing the painful contacts, and they get their last green screen shot. One of you historical people tell me if that's Edwardian. These cosplays are really cool though, and I really love Holly's teeth. But oh boy, the competition has drama before it even starts. Because as Yaya is about to go up on stage for her performance, in her stilts, the MC announces her, but she's not ready. And I just cannot believe that y'all had a cosplayer backstage, still clearly not ready, and you called her up without making sure she was ready. Like, y'all know she's in stilts. Anyway, Yaya has...
How do you know that she's in stilts? Like, she's off on the wings. They could have been like, oh, she's here, she's ready. If they don't know that she's going to be on stilts and she needs a minute, like if they don't say that, then because she's at that point, they're probably like, she's ready to go. This might have been just a communication issue, to be honest.
big feelings about it, understandably.
Hello, I'm not ready.
Let's get loud and proud for Yaya Han.
No. Cut my music, I swear to, I'm about, oh my God.
But they they started over and they have her come up with the help of 4 people, and she like almost falls down the stairs. But she's good. She made it up, and she does a little lip sync. And now she's gonna host the entire thing on stilts. They bring out the other judges, and there's only 2 for this one. It's Ivy Doomkitty again and Ryan Fry again. Y'all leaving all this to Miss Doomkitty. Backstage, Katie continues to be the drama by not being...
Also, Miss Doomkitty looked to me like she was in a Black Cat cosplay of some sort. Like a... Probably like a... flapper or 50s or I don't know, evening gown. I don't
Even
know,
all
something.
this to Miss Doomkitty. Backstage, Katie continues to be the drama by not being downstairs yet, but Katie does make it in time. So we get the final green screen ever of the Atlanta girls. On stage, somebody let Yaya sit down, thank God. And Team LA has a whole ass bed.
What jerk brought a bed to this thing?
Team Atlanta is the first of the cast to take the stage, and they do a great little choreographed walk-on. I think they could have interacted with each other a little more, but they straight up had no time, so this is great. They are then followed by a Harlem Shake before it's LA's turn to haul their whole ass bed on the stage. And they have a cool ass skit. It's all visual storytelling, nobody talks, and Carl says it best.
Stupendous on a magnificent scale.
Excellent job. For the awards, apparently they only had 2 awards, but created an honorable mention, and the honorable mention goes to... Atlanta! Best skit goes to... Not in the Cast! And the Best in Show, the final award given on the show Heroes of Cosplay, goes to the LA team. Chloe takes her first Best in Show and she cries, and it's really sweet. Jessica cries too. Holly says something that gets censored. Yaya explains how well thought out the skit was and how well it told a story. And there's one last full cast meetup through New Orleans. It's very...
We're gonna go drink, as we have been doing entirely too often on this show for someone who has only had maybe 2 weeks to work on a costume. For a convention contest. I'm like, what, Jesus?
Very kumbaya, everybody cries. Jesse gets told by Yaya that he's come so far. And I'll end it with what Riddle said.
I actually can't imagine what my life would be without cosplay. I've gotten to travel. I've met some of the most important people in my life. It's been incredible and so much fun.
And the show dies with a toast to cosplay.
Y'all are still on the circuit. So is Katie's cosplays. I know that. Meg Turney does a lot of more private things, I think. I don't think I've ever seen Meg Turney at a convention, but also she lives in Texas, last to my knowledge, so I don't really go to Texas cons, so I have not seen her guesting. I don't know if she guests. To be fair, you're right. The drinks on Bourbon Street have like no alcohol content in them, unfortunately. But still, they're just like, go drink, drink, drama. Like, gosh. Yeah, what happened to Jesse? Who redeemed Bless? Can we get a Bless for Jesse? Bless his pure little heart. He deserved every award he won. He was the best. He was the purest there. I don't know. I guess the other guys probably were fine too. But still. So to my knowledge, Meg and Gavin have gotten married. To my knowledge. I have not. Since Rooster Teeth shut down and like Gavin basically wasn't involved in anything for the longest time and like a bunch of other stuff, I don't know what's going on in their lives. But yeah, my understanding based on a comment that Ray made was that Meg and Gavin did get married. And it is Gavin from Slow Mo Guys, yeah. I have no idea if they're still streaming or anything like that. Yeah, thank you for the follow.
So you'd think with TV exposure, the people on this show would go on to be pillars of the cosplay community. Well, so we have 3 camps here. Cosplayers who became more famous than the show ever was. People who were on the show doing cosplay that don't do it anymore. And cosplayers who got left in the dust. For Victoria, it looks like she took a long break from cosplay after the show, as her Instagram goes from cosplay to years of fitness content, but recently she seems to be doing cosplay again, and her TV experience led her to just under 12,000 Instagram followers. Holly Conrad, on the other hand, did end up with a strong following online. They do a lot of D&D content on YouTube, but they still do cosplay, and has found a footing doing content online and has found a lot of success there. And they're one of the most talented artists I've ever seen with my eyes, and they went on to have a pretty great career in art after the show.
Nice.
Jessica appears to still do costuming at Halloween, but mostly seems to be doing mom stuff, being pregnant and running for office. Riki still totally does cosplays. It doesn't look like she ever stopped, and she was in fact horrified by Joe getting shooed off the stage. Chloe doesn't seem like she does cosplay at all anymore. She still does some fun outfits, but she's become a filmmaker and even wrote and directed a short film that won some awards. It does look like Becky still does cosplay though, and she's done a couple really cool projects in the last couple years, but it doesn't seem like the show boosted her career in any way, so maybe go give Becky a follow. She's still going strong, and she almost lost her eyes to this show. It looks like Jesse still totally cosplays, and I think he's even still with his very cute partner. He owns a business called Midnight Armor, where he makes all kinds of cool stuff, and he's even a member, or maybe just has some merch, of the Sheeprop community. So he's even an active member and supporter of the cosplay community. Jessica Negri is still going strong, despite not entirely being included on the show. She is still a talented veteran cosplayer with one of the most successful careers. Nowadays, she does everything from streaming to crafting tutorials, and the two of us together are responsible for like 90% of the handmade Ronnie cosplays on the planet. It looks like Monica still occasionally does cosplay, but her Instagram is mostly about her life now. It does look like at some point she did become a product manager for Blizzard. Carl still totally cosplays, as he's a full-time prop maker now, and he does some really impressive stuff. Indra is still doing cosplay and is still very talented, but didn't really end up with a huge following after the show. Meg Turney, while only in one episode, was already kind of big famous at the time, and she remains big famous. She still does cosplay, she does Twitch, she ended up getting married to Gavin Free.
Oh, there you go.
She's one of the biggest names in cosplay to be on the show overall, and went on to have one of the most successful careers both in cosplay and social media. For Miguel, though, I actually can't find anything on Miguel other than this one article of him getting a tattoo in quarantine. Like, yeah, there's an article about that. I was able to find his old DeviantArt, but I can't find anything recent, so I don't even know if he still cosplays, and turns out he might have gotten canceled for saying something really problematic, so I think he just, like, deleted all of his stuff.
I found it was pretty bad.
But I have no idea what he said. Katie absolutely still does cosplay and still goes to cons. I don't think she's competed in a while, and she does also comment on my videos sometime. Sorry, Yaya Han remains the queen of cosplay. She has witnessed the growth of modern cosplay and is a true pioneer of what it means to be a cosplayer today. She isn't just the queen, really. She is Aegon the Conqueror. She went on to have her own line of sewing patterns with McCall's, which she even stated that they reached out to her because they saw her on the TV show. She got cosplay fabrics put into Joanne, and she's worked with countless brands and even has her own branded sewing machine that is also a brand of sewing machine that I am an affiliate for. But just because we are affiliates of the same company does not mean I will not be critical of her. When you have a moniker like Queen, people are going to end up divided on you. While on one hand, Yaya has done a lot to legitimize cosplay in the eyes of the companies that make products that cosplayers use, she's set a roadmap for making cosplay a job. She's probably one of the best MCs out there because she's actually a cosplayer and actually watches the media that this stuff is from, so she actually knows how to pronounce characters' names, which is actually very rare. But the conversation
I try.
Conversations about bodies in cosplays, sexy cosplays, and the show even existing and her having such a big role in it left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. So I wanted to hear what she had to say about some of the things she said on the show and how she felt.
Hi, I'm Yaya Han. I've been cosplaying for 25 years and I'm still the queen of cosplay. Sarah made me say that. This show was pitched
While this interview is heavily edited, in the interest of not being a hypocrite when I've criticized production for their editing, the entire minimally edited version is available on Yaya's channel. Okay.
As a competition show, because it's the first show about cosplay, the first show about this very weird, esoteric hobby, has to be focused on competition. Otherwise, people won't understand why you do it. They kept trying to pressure me to compete to fit that guideline, that structure. I said, well, my role is not a competitor, and you're filming at real conventions, and you're saying that you're a documentary show, it's like a docu-series.
Oh, they were pitching it as a docu-series?
It's a docu-series. It is a documentary series, supposedly, yes.
No? If it was a documentary, why aren't you explaining literally anything? Like, you explained nothing. You just oh my God.
They even flew me out to LA, and I had to go to the sci-fi offices at Embassy Universal, and I had this room of Hollywood people surrounding me, and one lady literally looked at me and said, "Don't you want to be a star?" It was crazy. That was my moment where I was like,
she's like, I kind of already am, actually.
I'm in a movie. I kept saying I needed to be a judge because I was already contractually obligated to go to conventions that spring when we were filming, and we were actually at a stalemate to the point where for a few days the production was stalled and they weren't sure if it was going to get greenlit or not because this little Asian girl in Atlanta would not submit to their whim. And finally, Mark Cronin, the producer, he called me and was like, would you be willing to compete in one episode? I was like, fine. Because I was thinking about how many people were already involved. I didn't know how to say no.
So there is something to say. Productions like this, in general, productions have a lot of moving parts, behind the scenes. There's a lot of people involved. So it is generating jobs, and there are a lot of people probably on hold to go work on this thing to see if it's are we gonna have a job or not? Is this gonna be greenlit and it's okay and we're going and we're filming and all of us are going and filming or no, what's up?
Oh, Punch, I actually went to Universal Studios Orlando recently, AMA.
Okay. Not what we're talking about right now. Thank you for the $1. Anyway, so it's okay. I was like, is that going to go away? Anyway, so that just kind of on hold, is this going to happen? Is this not going to happen? And them pressuring her. I could see why she'd be sure, whatever.
No, when it was all right, just one. So that was a compromise. And I ended up competing for the last time ever.
So fun.
At Comic-Con.
Were you supposed to be involved in the show originally?
I was originally supposed to be a part of the pilot, yes. I was not a part of it because when they started to do the filming and stuff, it started to get really reality show-y. They originally said it was going to be like a face-off type thing, this is the point of why people are here and this is why we're doing it and da-da-da. It started to go in a direction that I didn't want to be.
Started going to a direction that I did not want to associate with or be associated with or be involved with in any way, shape, or form, or this is character assassination. I smell that character assassination from across the room and I didn't want to be a part of it.
In that direction with those people that I had grown so comfortable with. If I don't get a good vibe on something, I just say no. And I'm sorry, I know this could be a really great opportunity. I'm not going to do it. I just don't want to do this. I don't want my relationship with these people to be affected, I was really I don't want a TV show and I don't want them to craft this narrative of me and package me up and sell me.
It was this push and pull between production wanting us to do things and us vetoing, and sometimes we won and sometimes we didn't. They were definitely feeding us lines or trying to feed us lines. So let me explain how the confessional works. You go from being out in the world and being in public to total isolation. So psychologically, that is kind of jarring. And they ask you questions. They're like, take me back to that moment. How did you feel in that moment? And you have to say, I feel like, you can't say I felt like. They also make you wear the same outfit. So like you have to have one outfit that is approved, one makeup, one hairstyle. In the first 6 episodes, I had that red dress, and every convention I had to bring that with me. For every confessional, I had to put that back on.
And are they making you change out of cosplay to do this?
Yes, of course. So you'd be in costume all.
That would be such a pain in the ass. Like that would be such a pain in the ass. Like I have to go. I'm in like my full outfit, my makeup. Listen, cosplay makeup's a different fucking thing. I don't know. Maybe it's not for Yaya Han. She seems very made up here, but also she's sitting in front of camera and getting filmed. So like also film makeup is a different monster altogether as well. But like, it is like a different one. First of all, like for me, for cosplay, I even wear heavier products. And even then, it's like I do more in cosplay than I do on a normal daily like makeup or whatever. But it's still not as much as someone like Yaya Han is going to put on. Because again, I'm just lazy and I don't really know a lot about makeup. So I'm just like, cool, I have this specific powder that has high coverage. So I'm going to use that. And then I'm going to use multiple different blushes, and I'm going to use like minimum 5 different colors of eyeshadow, plus like multiple eyeliners, plus multiple mascaras. I may or may not put falsies in. I'm going to do my eyebrows. I'm going to have multiple lip colors going on. Like, if I need to put on freckles, I put on freckles, or if I need to do something else, I do something. But it's like, and I color correct more. I do a lot more because you want to look good in pictures. And so you have to completely get out of this makeup and this entire outfit. And like, you're going to have different undergarments for a lot of your cosplays than you do for your normal clothes. Get out of all of that. Put on this one red dress you have, and then do your hair and makeup. If your hair's in a wig, your hair is going to come out like frizzy. Depending. I don't know. My hair always comes out like frizzy and like messy or whatever because of how I put my hair up. But like, straighten your hair and like put on this one type of makeup. So like completely wash your face, get all your makeup off, put on new makeup that looks like this, and then sit down so we can ask you these questions. That'd suck so bad. Child, thanks for the follow. Welcome.
Day, and then you have to get out of costume, change your makeup. It was very crazy schedule in that sense, and that's what they also like. They want you to be tired and exhausted, and sometimes frazzled, they want you to be hungry. When things like were not going well, sometimes they would offer you a glass of wine. The reason they want you to be consistent in how you dress is so that they can cut and edit between all the different shoots. Something you say 4 weeks from now could be edited in the same sentence. I like to say that, to look at reality show editing and how we were edited is if I were to say the sentence, I don't like hot dogs with mustard. But then they can just cut it to, I don't like hot dogs. And when they feed you lines is when you don't say what they need to be said. They're like, well, this is something we need. We need this line so that we can then go to commercial. Like, they keep nagging at you until you do. And the first few episodes, I don't think I did very well in the confessionals. I sort of let myself be more manipulated. At the beginning, you kind of want to please the producers because they're so nice and, you feel important.
And you haven't seen what they're going to do to you later. I really feel like there was probably like a shift for the second season, and that is probably a reason why it got canceled, where they were like, oh, we're not friends. Like, you're gonna make me look like a terrible person, and you're gonna use my, like, what I say out of context or whatever. We're not friends, so why did I try so hard to please you at the beginning? That's not going to work out for you. Like, I swear to God.
Because you're like on the set with all these lights and all these cameras. And like, I think we all felt that.
With anything that anybody ever does, you're gonna have a knee-jerk reaction. You're gonna have that gut feeling first. Then you're gonna have this feeling of, if I don't jump on it, when am I ever gonna get this opportunity again? Sit with the feeling of the gut reaction and really try to self-analyze why you're having that reaction and what that means to you. At the end of the day, you're not going to lie to yourself if you are picking up something is funky. There's no way to know truly if something's going to be good or bad for you unless you go through it or don't go through it. You know, I think this was one of those situations publicly where I was able to, like, you know, and it was okay.
Like, I think I just need to clarify that.
She's like, I dodged a bullet. Yeah, you did, girly.
In the contract, we signed away our rights to, you know, any type of representation. It actually, there is a clause where it says that you have no rights over how you will be portrayed, and that the network and production have final editing rights. And there was also a non-disclosure agreement that said you couldn't disparage the network or production in any way. So for the first 6 episodes, it was season 1. It had a more aggressive, drama-centric, you know, tone.
Actually, I wonder if that's why her hair is so straight in all these. Because it's easier, it takes less time to straighten your hair than it does to, like, recurl it. And so I wonder if that's why her hair is straight. Because usually when I see her out of, like, wigs and stuff, her hair has this wave that you see in this, not in this screen, but, like, here. So, like, her hair's, like, wavy. That's usually how I see, like, she's got curl to her hair. Usually when I see her out and about, just whatever, she usually has, like, a curl to her hair. And so I was kind of like, oh, weird. Like, she's got, like, straight hair. And, like, all of these shots, I haven't really noticed or seen her with straight hair before this show, really. And I was like, I bet you anything it's because at a moment's notice when they're like, okay, get out of cosplay and come and do the confessional thing, it's just faster for her just to straighten her hair instead of straighten it and recurl it.
Had a more aggressive, drama-centric, you know, tone. And then for season 1.5, because it's not season 2, because
Do you actually know why that is?
Of course, they didn't want to do season 2 because they would have to renegotiate the contract, and we could have asked for more money. Not like we were paid very much to begin with.
Can I ask you that?
I mean, I'm not under NDA anymore, so we were all paid $2,400 per episode.
Hi, I was literally uploading the video and Miss Han just texted me to tell me that she actually got that number incorrect. She says that they were actually paid $2,400 per season. That's $400 an episode.
$2,400 for a season. For that amount of stress, character assassination almost, like, oh my God. Rolls in. Thank you for the follow. That sucks.
$400 for 2 weeks of filming.
It doesn't seem like a lot.
It's not a lot. It's really not a lot. No.
It's not a lot. Actually, it's less. It's $2,400 in total. It's $400 an episode. God.
It's the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. The biggest controversy of the show, or one of the biggest controversies, is the conversation at the dinner table where somebody makes a comment about people cosplaying as Superman. Why do you think the backlash landed on you, and how did it feel to be villainized over a comment somebody else made?
I mean, it's like they're like, we're paying you $400 and exposure. Like, we're paying you $2,400 and exposure. I mean, she did get stuff out of it, but the amount of, like, stress level it probably had on her, I was like, is it worth it? I mean, it might have been worth it for Yaya because they put Yaya on the pedestal within the show, but is it super worth it for the others that appeared on the show? Like, it's rough. Like, that's rough.
Well, it felt like total shit. and it was one of the first times where I truly felt canceled. I don't even know if I knew the term canceled. I remember feeling total despair that like my reputation was completely ruined. It was immediately upsetting. It was like physically, I had like a physical reaction to it.
She says the thing about Superman.
Yeah.
And then Chloe says, I think anyone should cosplay whatever they want. And then they cut in a confessional of you saying, I think Chloe's a little naive because she's such a newbie, which could have been about anything.
It was definitely not about this. It was certainly about something else. Hello. These people, they just saw it on TV and there was like the impression was that Yaya was the bad one. So let's dunk on her, you know, like that's the power of reality TV.
Yeah. One of the I can't remember. He was one of the cool ones, but he was like, it was when I was talking to him about the show and I was like, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. It's feeling really weird. He was like, well, like we were going to kind of paint you as like the golden child and like you were going to go up against Yaya and it was going to be this whole like you versus her situation. And then I was like, I definitely don't want to be a part of that then. That's my friend. That's my buddy. That's like someone I really look up to. Like, I don't want to be pit women against women. I'm such a huge I'm for the girls. I look up to her so much, and she's the first person to like do so many of these like new things. She's innovated so much. She like it got a whole fabric line in like a mainstream store. She's got like her sewing machine. She spearheaded that show to like she like jumped in front of it so she could like try to navigate it, you know, like she's doing all that she can, and still time after time after time she just gets like shit on for it. Like everyone says goofy shit. Like nobody's perfect, like, but like back in the day she would put so much time and effort into the community and then they would just like go after her for it and everything, and I was like, I'm so confused. Like, what do you guys want? Do you want
people want to okay, people want to villainize others. That's what they want to do. But also, like, there is, like, again, I mentioned this at the very beginning of at the very beginning of this episode, for those of you who are watching live. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, we're on episode 3. But, like, so hours ago, because I don't shut up, I mentioned the cosplay community and the VTuber community is very similar. They are both kind of almost popularity contests or beauty contests, and they are both very, like, drama filled because it's very similar people that are involved in them. To me, as someone who has been in both and still exists in both of these, that's kind of the vibes I get. They're basically the same communities with some nuances and differences, but basically the same. So you're gonna have people that are jealous, that are like, I could do that. That could be me. That should be me. Or she doesn't deserve what she's got. Or like, whatever, right? It's Mean Girls, yeah. So like, you're gonna have people that are like, yeah, a lot of people look up to Yaya Han. Yaya Han has done a lot for the cosplay community and has been in it for over 20 years and has been spearheading a lot of parts of it for over 20 years. And, you know, things socially, community-based, like anime conventions themselves, have changed drastically. They'll change drastically within 5 years, much less over 20. All right? So, like, I've been part of one Comic-Con for 16 years plus because we had to take a year off for the pandemic. But, like, things change drastically every couple of years. The communities changed, whether it's the con community or like the cosplay community. I'm sitting here looking at one big local-ish to me, like area local convention, start doing things that is not how it is done, if that makes sense. So like they're doing some things that it's like, that is not the norm. And that is going to change things, and not in a way that I would like them to be changed. And I don't want to I don't want to throw any convention under the bus or anything, but I'm just kind of like, I don't love that. I don't love what change you're trying to make, because it's going to make a lot of people's lives harder in different ways. So like, I'm not loving that, and I hope it doesn't catch on. But a lot of times the status quo of conventions will shift in one way or another, and different things will catch on, quote unquote, for the rest of the conventions. And so it's like the rest of the conventions kind of have to follow suit, because if you don't, people complain that you're not like these other conventions. It's like, well, everyone's doing this, so you kind of have to do this. Something that, for example, like taxes and fees for the longest time weren't really a part of buying tickets online. And now it's like, cool, it says $90. It's gonna be $112 when you check out. And like, I can't even fault that. Like, even, you know, taxes being added on to, like, sales tax being added on to online things is a relatively new thing that has happened. And a lot of it has to do with laws and stuff. So like, that's like, I get it. I'm just saying things change over time as an example. So I just like, you're never going to make people happy. People are always going to look to someone to villainize. They're always going to be kind of jealous about something. So like, that is what they were trying to do, is they were trying to pit like Golden Child, newer cosplay, quote unquote, queen, Jessica Nigiri or whatever, versus Yaya Han, who has been the quote unquote reigning queen of cosplay and is like the older queen because she's been in it longer. And we're going to pit them because that is good drama. And we're going to make, you know, Jessica the Golden Child because she's younger and newer into this. And more people can maybe relate to her because she also is just kind of sometimes does just overtly sexual things. Cosplays, I should say. Sexy, not sexual. Sexy cosplays or whatever. And so like, yeah, here you go, youth. Also, we want to sell stuff and this makes us money. And just, it's exhausting. That is just exhausting to me. Like, Jesus.
Want someone to just like, what do you need? Like, what do you want? Like, what do you want?
How do you feel about sexy cosplay now? And how did you feel about it then?
I have always done sexy cosplay. Like, I did my first bikini cosplay, I think a year or two after I started, you know, back when it was definitely very, very, even more controversial. But I am fully supportive of sexy cosplay. I think it's empowering and I'm completely all positive on it. And I know it wasn't always portrayed that way. Like, it wasn't portrayed that way on the show.
You obviously haven't seen the show, but this was one of the most problematic things that was said on the show, and it was so weird because Yaya said this about you. Could you just establish that you and Yaya are friends?
Oh, dude, thick as thieves, you can't get rid of me.
But this is what she says about you. You have to promise me that you won't
thick as thieves, can't get rid of me. Well, let me tell you what she said.
sell yourself short.
When did the show come out?
2013 and 2014. So this would have
because I can't play you the actual audio. The lines are here, or where I believe, from what I can hear and see in the waveform, the cuts in the audio are. This will be important later. A little worried that Monica will be seduced by Jessica's sexy cosplay style and forget about the importance of craftsmanship that I instilled on her. I think Jessica and we approach cosplay from different angles. You know, for me, it's all about the craftsmanship, really paying a lot of attention to detail. The content that Jessica Nigiri puts out really displays cosplay in the wrong light. I don't really want my little Monica to go down that path. She doesn't ever produce anything that showcases anything beyond sex appeal, and I think that it's okay to show sex appeal in cosplay. I do it myself, but you've got to have a balance. I really wish Monica would maybe follow me in my footsteps more than just going to have fun with Jessica.
happened in 2013.
Nigri.
Oh,
Okay.
so it's such a reflection of the thought ideals of those days, right? Like, because I feel like the energy of that whole mentality has shifted insanely. She read me for filth, let's be fair. No, so, okay, what I was told, because that episode came out, I wasn't watching it, but I was hanging out with everyone, we were going to cons. I remember this episode coming out, a convention, a very large convention, messaged me and said, hey, we are not going to work with Yaya anymore because of what she has said on the show. And I was like, hang on, hold up. I messaged Yaya, because Yaya was my friend. I said, hey, Yaya, this is kind of what's happening. Is there something you want to do about that or whatever? And she goes, oh my God, I can't say anything. Kim, that's not what I meant. They edited what I said to completely different, because that's not what I said, is what she told me at the time. And to this day, I'm very much, if that is the truth and the reality of what happened, and if what she actually said was not that, and they pieced it together to make it seem like that was the intention of like her words, that's eventually just gonna be on her. If she's gonna lie about that, I'm gonna believe her and say that that's what she said, that was what happened to her. So I'll believe that, because at the end of the day, the universe has a really good way of clocking you if you're full of it, you know?
How did we get to the portrayal that was on the show?
Well, I really mulled this over, and I have two answers for you. They both are, I think it's two factors that led to my portrayal on the show, where I seemed more prudish and more judgmental about people doing sexy cosplay. So the first reason is very simply that it was towards the beginning of the show and I was manipulated. They're just like, this storyline, you have to be the mentor figure. You have to be the one that pushes back. It makes no sense for anybody else on the show to do it. You have to be the one to be critical of it. And then they asked me a lot about my opinions about sexy cosplay. And back in 2013, like really until 2013 and even further, we were in the era before the Me Too movement. And women in costume, they were harassed. I have been harassed so many times at conventions. Grabbed, really like grabbed by my waist. People would like, touch my butt. I got poked in the boob. I got a guy that literally just put his face in my crotch at Dragon Con when I was wearing a bunny suit. And it was like during that time that the cosplay is not consent movement started, because of how many female cosplayers were being harassed at conventions. But in 2013, pre-Me Too, the cosplay is not consent movement was still not as prevalent as it is now. So people weren't as aware of things happening to female cosplayers. Now, when I became more and more well-known in the cosplay community, and when I started going to conventions as a guest, the harassment stopped because security was watching, other people were watching, I had a guest badge on, I was in official areas. Same with other big-name cosplayers like Jessica. Jessica could walk around in a sexy costume, but she would not be harassed because she would have her entourage with her, everybody would be watching.
I mean, yeah, creepy people doing inappropriate shit didn't stop, but it got, I guess, better. Where people are willing to like jump in and like stop it, or like kick people out or whatever, or like, hey, there are consequences. But you're always gonna have someone that's like doesn't understand. So there's a thing that happens at conventions where it's like, we're not in the real world. We can do whatever we want. And it's like, no, we are 100% in the real world. Like we're at a basically like a festival kind of thing. Like we're at like a fun place to be, but like you can't just do whatever the hell you want here. Like there are rules and there's regulations and there's like laws that you still have to abide by. Like, and this is, you definitely see it at some of these big conventions where people will like, hey, I'm gonna take a mattress and I'm gonna jump off or over this ledge in this hotel room. I'm gonna land on the mattress. It's gonna be fine. And then they do it and they don't survive that stunt. That has happened. Or, hey, I'm gonna throw a chair over this balcony and it's fine, and it hits somebody and it severely hurts that person. Like this kind of shit happens where people just don't think there's any consequences to anything they fucking do at conventions, which is wild to me. So it's like, I can just run up and I can just grab a girl and it's fine. It's not fine. It is absolutely not fine. You can very easily get arrested for doing this kind of shit. People can get hurt. Like, I don't know why you think suddenly that like, because you're at a convention, nothing applies to you. It's really weird to me that people are like this. Like, I just don't understand at all people being like this. I mean, but that has been like a historic thing. So anytime you have like a fandom that is predominantly liked by like the younger generation that has just kind of started to getting into going to conventions and they're like super excited about it, or they're going to conventions alone and they're super excited about it, people always like complain, right? like the older people, because they're kind of obnoxious. But then you have like the generation that was really into Homestuck. The reason why Homestuck got such a bad rap was because they were all gray. Not all of them. Most of them were gray. So they were doing shit like Sharpie baths in hotel rooms, running around in unsealed body paint, so getting body paint all over everybody. Like, and it was just because they didn't know any better. So they would jump in fully painted into hot tubs at hotels and like fuck up the hot tub and like all this other stuff. So like venues were getting mad at conventions because a lot of their stuff facilities kept getting damaged because these kids were painting themselves and then doing all these things that they would normally be doing, except now they're gray. So like it's like that kind of vibe, right? Where there's like not an understanding of like you can't just go out and do anything and it's fine. I'm just gonna call you Huffer. Thanks for the follow. But like we still have those types of like people going to conventions. It's just now they're into something else and they're not painting themselves gray. And so people don't care as much because they're not damaging stuff. You know, like it's when you're damaging, you know, other people's costumes, you're getting paint everywhere, you're damaging hotel facilities or convention center facilities. The convention center and hotel are telling like the convention, like, hey, a lot of my stuff is getting damaged. This is hurting our relationship together. Like this kind of like that's what the problem is.
Her, and it would be a huge scandal if you touch Jessica inappropriately, right? My concern was toward the young unknown female cosplayers that would see me and Jess, you know, flaunting our stuff and wearing sexy costumes, and they would maybe feel like, well, if they can do it, then I can do it too. They look so cool, I want to do it too. But the unknown young cosplayers, they're the ones getting harassed. I
also want to say, if you are wearing like a sexy cosplay or whatever and you're in a convention and someone, God forbid, like touches you inappropriate or whatever, yell at them. Make a scene. Make a whole ass scene. Go off on that person. Like, just do it. Don't just sit there and, because like it can happen, unfortunately. I mean, it can also just happen if you're just out and about in the world, right? So like, but like, don't just take it. Absolutely just, and like, don't throw hands, I would say. Like, don't start a fight because that's going to be a whole other thing. Start yelling at them though. Like, make an absolute, like, summon your inner Karen and make like an absolute scene. Like, just an absolute scene. Like, that's my advice. I don't know.
Explained like my feelings to the production.
Embarrass them.
And I think they just kept pushing it. They were just like, oh, you're concerned. Well, you're concerned for your cast member too, right? And you're her mentor. But so I do apologize for how I came across back then. It is like not how I feel, and I do feel that I got manipulated, and it was a great lesson to really steel myself and working.
Also, depending on what you're wearing, maybe have a buddy as well that's like looking out for you. You have like a handler or just like, you know, a friend that you're going to be walking around with. Like, maybe talk to them and be like, hey, do you mind maybe, you know, like looking out for me a little bit? Like when people come and ask for my pictures or someone approaches us, like something like that.
Even harder to fight against their manipulation.
At the end of the day, Yaya puts a lot of responsibility on herself to portray cosplay in a way.
I mean, generally, people aren't grabbing you and not letting you go. Generally. If someone is grabbing you and not letting you go, then yeah, do whatever you can to get out of that situation. And then like it is up to the police to figure it out later because the police are gonna get called. But like, just normally people are just kind of like touching you inappropriately, and it's not like, they're not like grabbing you and holding on to you for like a long period of time. And, you know, if they do, start screaming. Like, absolutely.
That she feels is like the correct way. And I think a lot of times she will put herself in front of stuff to make sure it goes in a conducive way, you know? And I think that's a lot of pressure to put on herself. And so from that mindset, if she did say that and that was whatever, one, I do craft very well, thank you very much, but also I understand where she would have been coming from, because what a huge responsibility to put on yourself, and to also think of so many people coming into cosplay, seeing this show for the first time, trying to figure out what cosplay was. So to me, Yaya and I, there are two wolves. And Yaya is like, back in the day, was like the crafter, like the creator, and like the spearhead, and like she would make things for people, like make products specifically for crafters and everything. And I very much leaned into heavy the play aspect, because everything that I've been taught about cosplay is that it's costume play. And so you play in the costume and you have fun in the costume. And there's no way I would ever be upset about it, because I believe people bring the energy to their life that they deserve. And I think the fact that I kind of came into her life, you know, and was like wrestling with all of her like core beliefs and everything was like a really like cheeky way of the universe to do that, if that makes sense.
I was not let off the hook for that comment. I was canceled a second week in a row for 2 weeks in a row. My life was a living hell. People were writing that they were like throwing my prints and calendars in the trash, and that they just completely are disappointed in me, that I've completely betrayed them, and that I completely betrayed my friends, you know, because they were like, oh, Yaya and Jessica hate each other. And we had to actually like have a talk, and then we had to make a video to show people that no, we're actually still friends, you know. And I also couldn't really talk about this openly because I was under NDA. I could not say they, you know, edited me falsely, or I couldn't say they fed me a line, you know what I mean? Like, because that's like, all right, now you're going to court against NBC.
What are your thoughts on sexy cosplay being referred to as the easy and cheap route?
I think it's elitist, because you're essentially saying you're not allowed to dress the way that these characters have been drawn or something. It's expensive to cosplay. What if someone only has enough money to make a breastplate, you know? Like, there is like sexy cosplay that is full-blown armor, but immediately because you show boobs and midriff or butt, you get thrown out. And I think it's kind of crazy, because like what Yaya cosplays, she cosplays sexy stuff, you know? She's a sexy ass lady. So I think it's a harmful way to look at sexy cosplay. Maybe that's just this like ever evolving conversation of women in any space given at any time, and just existing and having a body, and being perceived is, you know, a sin, you know, like it's just the story of everything ever when it comes.
Also, again, you're worrying too much about what other people are doing. I mean, my thing is like, are they following the cosplay policies? Are they covering up the things that need to be covered up according to cosplay policies? If yes, then why should I give a shit? Are they having fun? Are they safe, like hopefully safe, whatever? Then who cares? I don't care. Like, is too y'all got different kind of fucking energy. Like, I don't know. I can't care about that. I'm gonna be 100%. Maydu Messiah, thank you for the follow. Like, I cannot sit here and be like, oh, she's copping out because she's doing a sexy cosplay. Whatever, man. Like, let her do a sexy cosplay if that's what she wants to do. Who cares? You know what? The dude's holding her bag behind her is probably her boyfriend. Like, who cares? Who cares what she's doing? Let her do it. Like, dang. I've done sexy cosplay before. Who cares? It's all about, like, are you having fun? Are you having a good time? If the answer is no, why are you doing it? Why are you putting the effort into it? I mean, there is, like, a whole thing of, like, you know, maybe it becomes a job to you after a while, and you're like, I'm not having fun anymore because it's my job. And, like, that is a line I skirt and walk with this VTubing stuff now that I post on YouTube and make some money. And because I try very hard to be like, okay, I stream 4 times a week. I've shifted some of my streams around a bit, but it's like I stream 4 times a week, and I try very hard to stick on that schedule as much as possible, as much as I can, right? And it's like, okay, and we're uploading a video every day on YouTube and like all this other stuff. And so I have to do a certain amount of video reactions a day, or a week, I should say, which, you know, this being 3, freaking videos is gonna be a whole thing. But like, so it's like, I'm trying not to like let it sink in to my brain that maybe this is a job and I'm looking at it like a job. I'm like, no, this is my hobby and I cannot look at it as my job, because then it is stressful and maybe a little ruined for me. So it's just like a whole thing. Like, if you're having fun, I'm happy for you. If you're having fun and following the rules, great. I don't need to be any more involved in that at all.
Here, let me get this for you.
Thank you so much for the gifted subs, Deb. Appreciate you a lot. Thank you so much. Welcome those who just got a gifted sub. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Speaking of money. Yeah, so like, but like every time someone's like, what do you feel about sexy cosplays? What do you feel about this? And I just like, I don't have the energy to care about what other people are doing to that degree. Like, I really don't.
To women in a space.
I think it hurt the most because it made me sound like I was judgmental of the cosplay community, and I've never been judgmental of the cosplay community. I love this community, and I think that me having stayed even after Heroes of Cosplay and continuing to be active in the community for 10 years afterwards shows that I am sincere about wanting the best for cosplay.
Yeah.
I knew that Heroes of Cosplay was made for people who had never cosplayed before, and that it would probably rub people in the community the wrong way. And there were a lot of people that blamed me and the other cast members for like letting cosplay be portrayed this way. And I'm just like, you have no idea how it would be portrayed if we weren't on the show. If they had gotten people that just wanted to be TV stars and they played into the storylines and drama, like, then it really would have been the Real Housewives of Cosplay.
So I've talked about a lot of the drama involved with cosplay because that is the funner thing to listen to and watch and talk about. The cosplay community can absolutely be an amazing place. I'm not going to say that it's not. I mean, VTubing too. I've also talked some shit about VTubing, like VTubing community, but like they can both be extremely like positive places. And it can be like, it can bring you up, I guess. It can make you feel good about yourself. It can, give you access to a community that can be very like supportive of one another. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I haven't had very supportive friends in the cosplay community. Ish. I say ish because most of my bigger friends that were in the cosplay community, those were actually really toxic relationships. But like, I don't take my necessarily experience as everyone's experience. Especially now, because like cosplay now is so accessible to people. It is the most accessible it has ever been, the most affordable it has ever been, and the most accessible it has ever been just to get into, right? So that is a thing. I've been a little down on it. But I'm still part of both of these communities. I still cosplay. I'm still VTubing. Like, if you want to cosplay and you're like concerned about it, do it anyway. Have fun. Go have fun. You can absolutely make friends in the cosplay community. Probably absolutely make friends in the VTubing community. I don't talk to people, so like I can't really give you advice about that, but you can absolutely cosplay something, go to meetups, meet people, make friends, make a friend group. That is an absolutely thing you can do. And most people, I feel like more and more like people are generally more positive about it. I mentioned like, there's been some people that were like, give me mean looks because I'm cosplaying the same thing as them. That has happened to me less and less and less over time. So like more often than not, I'll be cosplaying like Mao Mao or from My Dress Up Darling or something. And like, or from freaking Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation. Oh my God. And it's like, I'll see another cosplayer from the same show, like across the hallway. And like, if they clock me and they see me and we're like, ah! And like, we just like run to each other and then it's like, let's take selfies. Like, that's what usually happens now. So like, by all means, it is more positive, I feel, than it has ever been. So like, don't let the drama of it get you down. There's drama in every community. It is really important to know that. There's drama. There's going to be drama at your workplace, at your school, in any hobby community that you end up being in. That is just life. And it's going to be at a different scales depending on where you are and what you're doing. Get into it if you want to get into it, because like the community can absolutely be a positive experience.
God, I hope that now, with many years in between, people can understand the show was truly an introduction, and that as an introduction, Heroes of Cosplay did a good job. It introduced a lot of new people to cosplay, and it especially normalized cosplay to many, many parents and many people that didn't understand their kids. And so, like, I forever am traumatized by this experience, but I forever I see it as what it was, is that it did change the cosplay community for the better. It brought in more and more people, and it made it more understandable and more normalized for the greater public. Like, without Heroes of Cosplay, we probably would not have all the cosplay materials that we have now, because it was through Heroes of Cosplay that I was able to make a deal with a fabric company and convince Joanne to stock the fabrics. And that led to, the sewing patterns, that led to other companies starting to sell materials and such, up until now we have a thriving ecosystem and just huge market of available cosplay resources. And that's literally only possible when lots and lots of people cosplay. I'm a strong believer in a rising tide raises all ships, whatever it is that one person does that brings a new opportunity is going to be good for everyone. Heroes of Cosplay was a net positive for cosplay.
Yeah. I actually think so too.
Okay, good. I'm so glad to hear that.
It was very flawed, though. Mostly the flaws are how they treated y'all.
Yeah, it was people who had no idea what this was about making a show, and then once they were done with their contract with Heroes of Cosplay, then they just moved on. They were able to move on to a totally different topic and never think about this ever again.
He rode away on a yacht.
Yep, he did. All the cast members and I, we really did our best to portray cosplay how we saw it authentically. And, and I hope that the positive repercussions can be felt and are visible, and that let's just keep cosplaying and keep having fun with this and keep welcoming new people into our community. Let's do that. Let's have open arms for everybody who wants to join cosplay.
Okay, do you have anything else you want to add?
Cosplay is costume play. We will die soon. Just live your life, man. Cosplay's fun.
Yeah.
Like, we're literally, we watch anime and we dress up these characters. Not that.
There was this thing. There's this woman on TikTok that was like, listen, at the end of this, we die. So it's at the end of your life, you die. Right? So why are you worrying about so much shit? Just go and do the things that you enjoy. Yes, work is stressful. You have to work. The economy might be a little stressful, whatever. You need to have some positives, because at the end, you die. So enjoy stuff on the way to the end. If it's costuming, if it's cosplay, do it. If it's streaming, if it's VTubing, do it.
Serious. Have fun with it. Have a good time. Have a good time.
So you might be like, if this was 10 years ago, why are you bringing it up now? You know how when the first video game movies came out and they were bad and they were weird and they made people afraid to make them or go watch them? Well, Heroes of Cosplay did that to me. There's been a few pieces of cosplay legacy media that have come out over the last couple years, and I've straight up never watched any of them because I'm scared that they will be as bad as Heroes was. There's one that just came out that's called Alter Egos that I hear people really like, but I haven't been able to watch it because I just put myself through this again. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to heal some wounds. The wounds of a community scorned by Hollywood. The wounds of those who shouldered the blame. And even the wounds of those who had a controversial conversation and had it shown to people without the ability to rewind and double check who said what. The show was a stupid, early 2000s reality show that was trying to be Real Housewives, and it hurt my community. So I'm trying to put it to death so it can't hurt us anymore. If you want to see some accurate depictions of cosplay contests, boy, do I have some videos for you. I've got this one, I've got that one. This one's like the best thing I've ever made. Please check them out, please subscribe, and please watch something else for me because the algorithm likes that. Not that you owe me any favors after watching my 2-hour-long video, but I did in fact watch Heroes of Cosplay, so you didn't have to. I'm sorry, I had to do that. And I did.
Hey, y'all should go to her channel and just like let her play in the background of your life for a little while. Y'all get her some cash. Y'all get her a bag.
Keep you entertained for 2 hours, so maybe subscribe. Thank you to Her Grace, Miss Han, for being willing to relive her trauma with me. I gotta say, I read her entire book for this project, and I actually really recommend it. It's actually a much better introduction to cosplay than this show ever could be, and it's a really great review of the history and with info that I think all cosplayers should know. And thank you to Jessica Negri for existing, but the biggest thank you to my newest big support tier patrons, Ghost Orion, and B is me. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye. No, don't start something. Do not start something.
What's poppin' YouTube?
Said don't. God, every time I accidentally like spam buttons and then things start. That's not what I meant. Okay, anyway. Alicia. I didn't want to start something. Y'all, 6 hours later. Anyway, literally 5 though. 5 hours later. Hello, Alicia. I don't know what I might have said the wrong word, like name. Anyway, hi, Alicia. My bad. Anyway, yeah, I wonder when you come up on my like suggested video. I don't wonder that actually at all. I know exactly why you come up. Anyway. I think I'm going to stop there tonight. I know so I'm still recording for YouTube. Hello, YouTube. We're still together. How's it going? I'm maybe a little bit brain dead at the moment. I've been reacting to that video for like 5 hours. Flesh, hello. How's it going? Anyway, get into the cosplay community if you're interested. It's really fun. It's so easy to get cosplays now. Even like good quality cosplays, cosplay wigs, the stuff needed to make cosplays are more available than they have ever been. Don't let something like me being somewhat negative, I'm a pessimist, I mentioned that at some point, or like drama-filled fake reality TV, whatever, bring you down. The whole thing about cosplay is you should just do it for fun. So go do it for fun. It's fun. I dressed up as Mau Mau recently from Apothecary Diaries. Usually I run around and try to take selfies with other people from the show. I saw multiple other like Mau Maus and Jinshis and stuff like that from Apothecary Diaries. I didn't, for whatever reason, I wasn't in the mindset to run around and try to take pictures with people. Like, I don't know if I was just tired or if I was just like socialed out or like what. So I didn't do that. But like, I still just as dressed up, like, you know, being dressed up, I still had fun just walking around being dressed up, even if I wasn't really interacting with people. It's a fun thing to do. And it can make you feel good about yourself. So like, absolutely go do it if it's something you're interested in.